Hello, today's lesson will be about strategic management, the importance of strategic management, Porter's 5 forces and firm's microenvironment, and PESTEL analyze. Okay. The first thing, what is strategic management exactly? The strategic management, the process of the planning, monitoring, analyzing strategies. Without strategy, it is difficult to be consistent in the competitive environment. So firstly, the firm have to choose the strategy and for planning, monitoring, and analyzing, setting goals and deciding how to achieve them, like long-term goals in the future, how to survive in the competitive environment. Help organization achieve goals, checking if the strategy is working. To do market research time to time and find out the strategy works truly or not. Focus on long-term direction, evaluating results, and making improvements. And for long-term direction, and all results have to be evaluated by the top managers and deciding and the working procedure improves or not. Why is strategic management important? Provides clear direction. Without it, we have not any vision, mission, and long-term goals. So, and once again, the strategy is really essential for being consistent and to continue the firm activities in the future. Helps adapt to change, anticipate and respond to market changes. What is the change? And in the competitive market environment, and consumer preferences change day to day. So, and every industry have to be consistent for the change and to analyze the changes. Maybe the changes happen in the quality, price, or design of the of the product. So the consumer changes happen. Consumer preferences change as well. Creates competitive advantage, and for creating competitive advantage, firms have to work to outperform other competitors, rivals, other firms in the market. So, and these based on core competencies, innovation, and efficient resource allocation. And the strategy, and for being alive in the competitive market, as I said before, strategy is really important. And there should be successful strategy and clear implementation, strong implementation. And effective implementation require clear, consistent long-term goals. And profound understanding of the competitive environment. If one manager doesn't able to understand the competitive environment, it is difficult to help the firm to survive in the competitive market environment. And then the third is objective appraisal of resources. All resources should be evaluated thoroughly. And the strategy, the firm and the industry environment. The firm is an organization that combines resources. Resources in the firm, these are labors, technologies, and capital to produce goods and services. The industry environment refers to external environment. These include consumers, competitors, and suppliers. Consumers are the individuals who have preferences for identical any product. Suppliers, and these sell raw materials to an institution to produce any single item. Competitors are rivals. Okay, goals and values, and the target, and they should be clear, and then all individuals in an organization work together to reach their goals. Resources and capabilities. For resources, raw materials, if there is no capabilities in an organization, no skilled workforce or any manager, it is difficult to them to reach their goals. And the structure, the firm structure, and the systems. And the secondly, I'm going to explain Porter's 5 forces. And this is introduced by Michael Porter at Harvard Business School in 1979. And what Porter 5 forces tells us. And it is actually widely known as Porter's 5 forces of competition framework. And this framework is really effective for any organization to have a right strategy, continue for a long term. So before entering a market, any organization have to analyze these stages: competitive rivalry, internal competition, threat of new entrants, market entry barriers, bargaining power of buyers, customer influences, how customer influences the institution, bargaining power of suppliers, input control, and threat of substitutions and other alternative product. Competitive rivalry. Competitive rivalry, this is the intensity of the competition. Intensity of competition, it means there are 3, 4, or 5 firms in the market. They sell identical product and compete over quantity, price, and sometimes quantity leadership. And these include number of competitors, how many firms in the market. For example, the 3 firm or 4 firm produce the computer. Market growth rate, how market improves. And actually, it depends on economic and social factors. How many people are willingness to pay to the computers or any other electronic devices in the market. Product differentiation, how product differs for its price and quality. And this has direct impact on consumer preferences. And the fixed costs. High rivalry leads to price competition. If there are more than 3 or 4 firms, then firms compete on prices. So one firm sells its product and cheaper than others to attract consumers and or motivate their consumers and stimulate their consumers and sell more product to them. Increase the marketing costs. Every firm starts to compete in the competitive market environment, so they spend huge sum money on marketing and on advertisements. So, and it leads to huge costs on an organization. And this is spending lots of money on advertisement, and the result reduced profit margins. It means firms will be less profitable. Threat of new entrants. And before the entry of the market, and the new entrants may face many difficulties. First, if there's a monopoly in the marketplace, and then it will be difficult for new entrant to enter the market. And for this, a new entrant should have strong strategy, whether enter or not the marketplace. And no enter, it doesn't change, it changes nothing. But if enter, it may face some difficulties or barriers in the marketplaces. Okay, barriers to entry include high capital requirements. It means, they should be, the firm should spend lots of money on technology, on it is like the places they build any business. Economies of scale, how much quantity are supplied in the market, like identical products. For example, if there are 5 firms in the market, they produce identical product, it may increase the quantity, and it is means economies of the scale. Strong brand identity. And consumer in a region and in a market have preferences for brands, and the brands have a reputation, and this is well known among consumers. So before entering the market, the firm first understand, will I compete and will I survive in the market or not? Will I attract the consumers, and how do I serve the consumer? And so it should be clear. And government regulations. These include taxes, laws, and these include maybe consumer behavior laws or any strict serious regulations. Access to the distribution channels. And before entering the market, the firm plan to how to deliver the product to the consumers. It doesn't matter where the location, maybe abroad or maybe and the company sells the product to local people, local individuals. Bargaining power of buyers. Buyers can influence on the price and quality. Today, actually, the supply exactly depends on the demand. If there is no demand and there is no supply, it is impossible to survive in the marketplace. So, and this is strong. The main alternatives are available. It means, and in one market, there are more than 4 or 5 computers firm, and I can choose one of them, or like many people have preferences for different kind of products. Buyers purchase in large volumes. Switching costs are low. Or maybe if the consumers change their preferences, then alternative products, substitutable product price, more or less the same as the previous product. Okay, the effects are pressure on the prices, demand for high quality or better services. Bargaining power of suppliers. Supplier provides raw materials or inputs for a firm organization to produce product. And it is strongest, and when there are few suppliers that exist, it means, and there is a competition among suppliers, and so if there are few, and it means, like it is strong. No close substitutes for inputs, and there are limited substitutes for any product, for a brand, for example. If in a market, if there are 2 firms, then it is difficult to substitute my preferences with another one. High switching costs. If I change my preferences from one to another, then my costs increase directly. The effects increase production costs and reduced profit margins. Threat of substitutes. And what are the threats of the substitutes? This is really one of the important factors of Porter's 5 forces. Substitutes are alternative products fulfilling the same need. And the products are almost the same, and they differ for their price, quality, and maybe design. But they carry out the same functions. And for example, coffees and tea, or maybe Coca-Cola or Pepsi-Cola, or for example, the computers, public transport, and also the private cars. There is high threat when substitutes are cheaper. If I produce product for a market, then I calculate my costs and define a price for my product. If the substitutes products are cheaper, then it is a real threat to me, and then I'm going to lose in the competitive market. Okay, switching is easy, and any consumer can change their preferences in any time. And the third analysis is pastel analysis, and the analyze actually and widely known firm's microenvironment. Okay, this is the external microenvironment analysis, helps organization identify opportunities and threats. Complements industry analysis like Porter's 5 forces, widely used in strategic planning. Okay, the pastel analysis, when we talk about the pastel, and all capital letters have their own meaning, the political, economical, social, technological, legal, and environmental factors. What are the political factors? Political factors and consist on current tax policy, and in UK, this is Brexit, trade policies, political stability, and government policy, and climate change acts. And for this reason, and if any company wants to locate in any place, and so have to answer to meet the country's political elements, and the taxes, tax policy, and what are the rule of the political and politics and the political stability in any country, or climate change. And today, and in this a technological development world, and many firms attract modern technology to produce less carbon dioxide. So, and for any firms or factories, activity can be limited by by one government and law or policies. Economical factors, these include inflation rate, exchange rate in any country, economic growth, interest rates, disposable income, and unemployment rate. If any firm decides to locate in a place, maybe its branch, and can locate its branch, but the first do market research to find out economic issues in the market. If there is economic problem, then it is difficult for firms to sell their product to the consumers, because consumers are less willing to afford or buy their product. And if there is an inflation rate in a country, then it means there are few consumers for any product, and generally these the product and produced under the brand name. Economic growth and interest rates, unemployment rate. If there is huge unemployment rate in a country, so it means there is no social welfare and people once again and less willingness to pay for a product. Social factors. Social factors, these include lifestyle attitudes, cultural barriers, population growth, population age, healthy consensus, target demographics. And for locating in a place, and then first the firms have to analyze the market and calculate the buyer's power and how many consumers are willing to consume our product. And they should be target number, maybe 50,000, 10,000, 50,000, 100,000, or maybe higher than that. The lifestyle and for people in a given country wants to wear, and the luxury or not, like the cheaper or expensive or cheaper products. Cultural barriers in some countries, and people don't like wearing special clothes because there are significant cultural barriers among individuals. Population growth. If there is population growth in a country, it means the number of consumers increases, so many people are going to buy the product. So if the firm can sell and is able to sell its product to large the number of people. Health consciences and target demographics, and this is a target demographics and closely related to population growth. Technological factors, levels of innovation, automation, technological awareness, cybersecurity, technical change, internet availability, speed. In some developing countries, and the rate of innovation is actually it has less quality, and it is difficult for some firms to locate in a place where there is less and there is no significant technological development or technological change. Legal factors, these include employment laws, discrimination laws, health and safety, and copyright protection and consumer safety. And before entering the market, firms fully understand all these legal factors, and in economics there is a home and a host country factors. And if a firm creates in any country, for example in Germany, if it wants to locate its branch in Azerbaijan, then employment law should be applied in Azerbaijan. And the discrimination and health and safety, it means in an organization the labor's health and safety should be taken into account. Okay, copyright protection and consumer safety, and when we produce a product, we always think the consumer behavior or consumer safety. How do we deal with the quality and product? Environmental factors, these include weather, climate change, environmental policies, recycling, pollution, sustainability, waste disposal, and energy consumption. Okay, in this day, we face a strict climate change problem. So before entering a marketplace, we have to source of the environmental problem. Maybe our activity, the firm's activity, can be limited by the environmental law, environmental policies. And if a factory produce more carbon dioxide, carbon emission, it means its activities should be limited in a given country. So, and there should be strict law for a firm or factory. Okay, the recycling. And recycling, and the firm should reproduce the items, the kind of bottles, and to reduce the pollution and plastic pollution in a country, on a given area. Or the sustainability, and they should be, and the sustainability to protect the environment and also answer the environmental policies requirements. And the energy consumption, and how much amount of the energy the firm consume, and to whether it has negative or positive effect on the environment. Okay, thank you for your attention.